Alright, so this is gonna be a very unusual video because my internet is down and I'm really upset right now and I cannot play Roblox. So I'm just gonna play my little Vampire Survivors with breakcore. I don't even know what to call this game. It's gonna be very interesting because the game requires insane amount of focus and I will have to rant about what I wanna rant about while simultaneously trying to play this game. I'm gonna go to the burger area because that guy looks like a burger and it's funny. This game might as well be just called ADHD Survivors, because that's what it really is. The whole game is just ADHD. Breakcore music, numbers everywhere, the entire screen gets covered with stuff in just a, bit. So I just got back from California. I went to Anime Expo. I don't know how else to put it, but Los Angeles is just hostile. And I don't mean that you're gonna get stabbed if you go in the wrong neighborhood. That happens too. That happens too. But what I mean is, it's hostile to convenience. Los Angeles makes everything you do as difficult and inconvenient for you to do as possible. I don't know how else to put it. If you've ever been to LA, you would know exactly what I mean. But if you've never been to that wonderful, bizarre place, let me just talk about my experience from this trip, right? I was supposed to spend just a couple of days in there, and financially, it would make more sense for me to somehow manage to take a damage. So I'm just gonna reset the entire... That was not reset. That was not reset the round. That was reset settings, and it did not ask me for confirmation. So let me tell you something about LA. So financially, for my trip, it would make more sense for me to rent a car instead of Ubering all over the place, because everybody would Uber to convention, right? So the price is gonna go up fast and by a lot. Does it make sense? Yeah, it probably does make sense. So I rented out little BMW. I don't know why I'm saying little. It was a massive BMW. That's like the only proper car they had at the 24/7 rental place. I went to the hotel. I dropped off my stuff. I got my car and, I immediately left, to see my friends and everybody else because I arrived like a day before the convention, right? So I spent the day with all my friends. It was really nice. We went mini golfing. We went to arcade. It was around midnight when I got back to my hotel. And I remember when I was leaving my hotel, I asked the guy at the front desk, it's like, so where's the parking? Like, where can I actually park? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, the listing said that it has free on-site parking. They're like, oh, if you press, if you click the tiny button that says additional details, it actually says that it's $30. And it's actually, we don't have any parking on site. We only have, they're just parking nearby. I can show you where it is. I'm like, oh, it's whatever, I'll find it. So I spent the day with my friends, and it was about midnight when I got back to my hotel area, where I was staying at, like the street, whatever. And I found a parking lot. It was kind of like a mini plaza of some sort. Honestly, since I'm not live streaming right now, I could just show this picture. There we go. It was this kind of plaza with a couple of parking spots. Some of the parking spots had a sign that would say no authorized parking or only for, a disability or, and some of them also said like only for patrons, aka for customers of the, storefronts. I specifically parked at one of the spots out of, I think, 5 or 6 that didn't have any signs. Like, that you can't park here if you're not this, whatever, right? Essentially just, open spots of no signs. I checked the entire area. I circled the area for like 2 minutes looking for any signs that prevent me from parking that area, right? Found nothing. And I went to the hotel room. I got in my hotel room. It was a 2-star... It was a 2-star hotel. Sorry, I can't afford going to fancy hotels. I take a shower, I get in bed, and I see this. I don't know how I didn't see it when I left the hotel initially, but that also explains why other people didn't see it. As in, the cleaning service and, the owners of the property. And I'm just staring at it. And here's the thing. There's nobody at the front desk after, I think, 10 or 11 p.m. They just told me, hey, just use the keypad. Here's the code. There's gotta be nobody at the front desk, past certain time. Essentially, there was just nobody to tell about this. And I'm like, okay, do I tell them in the morning? Will they believe me that I didn't see this when I entered my hotel room, like, around the day? Because I arrived, 3 p.m. maybe? I don't know. Whatever. So I just go to sleep. The next morning, I get out of the hotel room. I didn't even, like, I was in a bit of a rush, you know, to pick up my friends because I told them I'm going to drive them to the convention center. So I didn't even process that I need to speak to the person at the front desk about the alarm, right? You know, dangling from the ceiling. So what I did is I, you know, started just, you know, walking towards the, you know, parking lot where I left my car. I arrive at the parking lot and I see there are no cars pretty much at all. There's just maybe like 5 cars total at the entire lot. And that's including my car. It's not there. So I'm like, oh boy, okay, did my car get stolen? Did it get towed? What happened? So I wander around this like mini plaza and I find like some tiny sign that says, hey, this is the number of the, you know, the towing company. I'm just gonna call it Discount Towing, okay? I generally do not remember what was the name of the company, okay? I call up that number and I'm like, hey, do you have my BMW? And they say, which one, white or gray? I'm like, gray. They're like, yep. I'm like, okay, I'll be on the way, you know, soon. And they tell me, okay, like, what time you gotta be, like, you know, what time should I expect you? And I'm like, well, I'm just gonna get an Uber now. I get an Uber. So the towing place is about 17 minutes away when I got in the Uber. You know, I'm talking to this guy. He's from Peru. And he's asking me, okay, so this address, you know, this and this and this. I'm like, yep, I'm going to the Discount Towing. Once again, Discount Towing is only, you know, it's a made-up name, right? For simplicity's sake, right? And I tell him, I'm going to Discount Towing. And he's like, ooh. I'm like, what? What's up? And he's like, yeah. And he tells me, yeah, I had experience with them 2 or 3 years ago. They towed my car. I'm like, oh, how much did it cost to get it back? He's like, I don't remember. I think like $200, $300. I'm like, oh, that's, you know, a lot. But it's whatever. You know, I'm just kind of like, that's real unfortunate. You know, maybe I could, like, you know, talk to them. You know, I figure out the situation. Like, why was it even towed in the first place? Because when I realized that my car is gone, I saw there was like a very, very faded sign on the floor that said compact, but it was faded in a sense that it's been removed. So I wasn't exactly sure, like, I couldn't even see it when I parked the car. I only realized when it was a daytime and the car was gone, because it was just kind of like a dark spot, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe I have a picture, so if I do, that probably makes it easier to explain. Anyways, so I arrived at the place and said, like, so there was like a compact sign, but it's so faded. Is that why it got towed? It's like, no, it's because you parked and left the property. I'm like, oh, okay. What time did it get towed? Dude, they towed my car 3 minutes. 3 minutes after I parked. So I spent 2 minutes circling around the area to figure out if, you know, if I'm not allowed to park in there. And these vultures grabbed my car, or at least reported that they grabbed my car, a minute after I left. A minute. Once again, the place is 17 minutes away. Like the tow yard. They swooped in a minute after I left the property and 3 minutes after I parked. The towing place is 17 minutes away. And once again, the reasoning why they did this is because I left the property. Even though there were like no signs that, hey, no parking, you know, if you're not a patron. Yeah, you know, other spots, there were many spots that had that sign, but there were 5 spots or so that did not have anything like that. I think parking is a human right. I live in Nevada. You could park almost anywhere. LA. LA is like, there's no free parking in LA. At least generally. Guess how much it cost me to get my car back? That is a rental, once again. Like, I have no choice. Guess how much it cost me to get my car back after it spent about 8 hours or so at the parking lot, because it was midnight and I was picking up at like 8 a.m. or so. I don't remember the exact time, right? $500. It cost $500 to get my car back. So they charged me, I don't remember the numbers, but it's probably gonna be on the screen, but it was something like $200 for towing, $200 for release, and $100 for storing it, or something like that. And on top of that, 400%, 400, and on top of that, 4% card fee. Essentially, this is just kind of like, just because we can type of fee, you know, on top of that. I understand why car fees are, I know why card fees are a thing, but you get the idea. You see how absurd this is? 500, and I have no choice. I'm like, that's why I did not, like, to all the artists at the Anime Expo, this is why I walked up to your stand and was window shopping. I did not buy anything. Not because your artwork is garbage, but because I had no money left. I went negative in my bank account because of this situation, because it really put me over the budget. And in case you're wondering how did James Key 2 million subscriber main channel go negative in the bank account, well, maybe because my YouTube network is not paying me. And I still haven't gotten back to my job, and I was living off the, the saving sponsors, Patreon, and all that. But I was one disaster away from this, and this is the disaster that happened to me because LA is LA. Yeah. It's like, dude, people from LA gotta defend this situation, just like, oh yeah, you should have parked. You should have expected to find a parking spot. Dude, parking spots in LA are like $40 overnight, on average. Oftentimes more, sometimes you can find less. Find less in a sense that you can find the existence of these parking lots, but they're full. So you cannot park in there for $30 overnight and stuff like that. They exist, but they're always full. It's impossible. Dude, could this make a dedicated video of me just ranting about this parking lot? This video will not even cover the parking lot fee, the towing. And I'm not talking about it because the network is stealing from me, essentially. But because this video will just make so much less because how stupid this video is. You know what? I don't want to just leave you with this, parking incident. Let me tell you about another parking situation that happened during my visit to, LA just, now. I meant to see my friends at a place called Sugarfish. It's a sushi place, right? So I'm not gonna talk about, what happened to the Sugarfish because that's a, mini story on its own. But let me tell you about the parking situation. So, once again, I'm driving everybody in my rental BMW because, it saves a lot of money to everybody because, it costs at least $30-40 for people to Uber and then the same amount, if not more, to Uber back. And that's not considering surge pricing. That's just how expensive Uber is in LA for, the tiniest distances, imaginable. I'm pretty sure I haven't taken a single hit so far. I just realized. Anyways, so let me tell you about the parking situation. So I was supposed to park at the place called Sugarfish. The thing is, in LA, once again, it's very difficult to find any kind of parking. And I'm not talking about free. I'm talking about just parking in general. It's just difficult to find parking. I essentially said, okay, I'm just gonna go to the first parking lot that looks legit. That does not look like, somebody's gonna break into my car, at that place, right? And so, okay, well, this is getting a little bit. Oh my god, that was really close. So I'm together for passengers, right? Driving people around. We're supposed to meet our good friends. The tricky part is when you're in downtown LA. It doesn't matter if you have AT&T, Verizon, all that. The signal is always bad, in there. Legitimately, like the signal is always bad. It's like in terms of like GPS, right? So you can still make calls, you can still access internet, but you'll be in a situation where your Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever you use will not know which street you're on. It's gonna like make you bounce between the blocks, like back and forth, like left and right, if that makes sense. It's a bit difficult to illustrate. Maybe I'll just show it in post. So I got as close to the Sugarfish address as possible, and we found a parking lot. It says public parking. That's what it says. Public parking. And it's like underground. I begin driving underground and it says public parking this way. I enter the public parking and it's like empty parking lot. It's giant. Like, we're talking like hundreds of parking spots and they're empty. There's maybe like 5-6 cars, parked total, right? And I see two people in the distance. Who are wearing uniforms, for like security or whatnot, or like workers, and they kind of like gesture, like slow down, right? To me, like they went in front of me in a distance, and they're kind of like gesturing, like you gotta stop here, and it says like a Valet parking sign, right? So I rolled down my window and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I meant to go to the parking spot. I didn't realize this is Valet, and they're like, yeah, there's no there's only Valet. I'm like, oh, how do you, like, okay, do I just do, like, a 180? Do I just reverse? Did I take, like, a wrong turn? Because it's underground parking, right? It's like, no, there's, like, no public parking at all. This is only Valet. That's it. I'm like, oh, how much is the Valet? And he gave, like, the most random, like, number imaginable. It was something like, it's $4.50 every 12 minutes. Like, what on earth is this kind of metric? Like, why these numbers? Why is it... And looking back at it, maybe, every 12 minutes because you can divide, 1 hour by 12 minutes, right? And I'm sitting here doing mental math. I'm really good at quick math, right? And I ask him, like, so how much is it per hour? And he just shrugs. This guy just shrugs. He's working there, and he just shrugs. And I'm like, and I tell my passengers, hey, well, it comes down to about like $50. I think we can be done with our, sushi, and then we'll just, get in the car. I'll just put a timer. And they're like, well, I agree to it. You know what happens next? And by the way, I want to make it clear, the BMW is automatic, right? It's one of the, automatic ones. The valet guy made me park myself, thus defeating the whole purpose of the valet entirely. He made me park myself. So I'm parking my car at the valet parking prices myself without any valet. He made me park. We get out of the car and he says, hey, you double parked. I'm like, huh? And he's like, you took 2 spots. And I look back, my BMW, the rear right wheel is just the tiniest bit on top of the lane. Like, we're talking like less than an inch on top of the lane. It's an empty parking lot with hundreds of spots. And this guy, after making me park myself at the valet parking, tells me I double parked. I'm like, okay, yeah, technically I'm in the wrong. But do you see how absurd this is? Like, just the situation itself. I don't know how else to put it. I genuinely don't know how else to put it. It's like I said, I am in the wrong here, but this is just absurd. Like, how is this real? How is this real? That's not even me talking about, the rest of the experience at LA and, like, why it's so hostile, especially for parking. Do I have to beat the game? I haven't taken a single hit. I just want to point it out. Subscribe, leave a like. Leave a like if you don't like LA. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Yeah, leave a like if you don't like LA. Dude, this is my therapy. I'm actually very committed to actual proper therapy right now. But this is like, this is additional therapy. Sometimes I just need a bit of this. I remember Fonzie, my roommate, saying something along the lines of, if you don't have epilepsy, this is how you get it. But this works. This is calming. This should not be calming, but this is calming. Working on old cars, everything breaks down. Parts are hard to get. Parts are hard to find. Information is contradictory. This tinkering with stuff just relaxes me. It just makes me, it just distracts me for all the headache that I have to deal with. But it should not be this way, but this is just how I am programmed, I suppose. I don't know how else to put it. Maybe some people can relate. Maybe not of this neurodivergent Vampire Survivors, game. And by the way, I'm making fun of it, but it just, I genuinely love this game. And, the devs have been nothing but nice, about everything. And the music artist, by the way, I think their name was Milky Possum. They have like 4,000 listeners on Spotify. I'm just gonna lift their link in the description. Maybe they'll have 4001, after this video, because I think they deserve more. Their stuff is really good. Anyways, that doesn't make any sense. Why it's comforting. Why am I so much better at CS whenever I'm just non-stop talking? The more I distract myself, the more I feel focused. It's a weird thing. I suspect I know why, but I don't think I have to say it out loud for, the viewers. Okay? I think it's pretty easy to connect the dots for the people who actually know how this feels. But for everybody else, I hope it's just funny. I hope it's just genuinely funny to you. I hope you find it funny. This is probably gonna be one of the weirdest videos on the channel, and it's probably gonna do really poorly. But this is the only thing I can do right now when I have no internet. I am really upset. And we just got a lot of gasoline out of the Yugo, okay? Because the Yugo's been sitting in the garage for some time while we were working on it, and I had some gas in it. We're having, like, I'm not gonna spoil what's happening with the Yugo, but we're extremely close to getting it, operable, drive it on the streets. And the video, I've been working on it, for a very long time. The footage for the Yugo video is like 4 terabytes, no, more like 3 terabytes big, but I haven't imported the new footage yet. I had to get a separate drive just so I can store the Yugo footage. That's how much footage I have. But with that being said, we did have to siphon a bunch of gas out of the tank because it was old, because it was suspected that was one of the reasons why some issues occurred, right? So you can't just dispose of gasoline. It's not safe. Environmental stuff and whatnot. I'm storing it properly and all that, but you cannot just, toss it in trash. You cannot just, toss it in your pipes, whatever, right? And the problem is, you cannot bring it to, let's say, O'Reilly's AutoZone or any, like, mechanics store, just like you can do, let's say, oil, because they just don't accept it, because it's not exactly recyclable, or other reasons. Based on my research, the only way to get rid of it is to bring it to the transfer station of the trash company, right? They are technically open on every single day, but the front desk is not working past certain time, right? I've been using the black holes a lot, but I guess that's like the only way for me to beat this boss. You know what? You guys can wait. You guys can wait. I will finish this after I beat this boss, because I need full focus on this boss, because this boss is very annoying. It's the one I struggle with the most. It's not even the final boss that I struggle with. It's this boss. To consistently get it without any hits. I don't think I've taken a single hit, but whatever. So the idea was the only way to properly dispose of it is to go to transfer station. And for some reason, even though they're open, you know, throughout like certain times, for some unknown reason, the desk is open, like, you know, the front desk, like the calls, they don't take them at a certain time. You know, that is contradictory to their like actual schedules and everything else, what they even tell you, like the automated thing. Anyways, I couldn't find any other info. Like, we technically have only 2 transfer stations here in Vegas, as far as I'm aware. I couldn't find any information on the website whatsoever regarding the, you know, disposal of that stupid gasoline. I just took a hit. I'm pretty sure... I don't know if I did. I generally do not know if I did, but I think I did. And if I did, I'm really stupid. This morning, I tried to call them, you know, to make sure that they're gonna, like, accept it. And I called the center. I spent, like, 5 minutes on hold, and then 10 minutes of this guy... my only question was, hey, you know, I want to drop off my gasoline. I just want to confirm that they can take it. He spent 10 minutes and he could not, like, get an answer. And he's like, I don't know, just try. You know, essentially, that's what it came down to. The guy who works in there couldn't tell me if I could dispose of gasoline. This is the only place in the entire city, according to many documents, that accepts, you know, gasoline. And I just needed to confirm the hours and, you know, if they can take it. I don't know. You see how absurd this is, okay? You see how absurd this is? You see why I'm so upset? You don't see the real reason yet. But anyways, the transfer stations are really far away. They're kind of like on the outskirts of the city. So I had to drive for a very long time. I had to spend, like, you know, dedicate so much time of my day to just drive there. I arrived in there and I asked them, like, okay, like, can I... you know, dispose of gasoline. They're like, oh, no, it's considered like a hazardous material, so, like, you know, here's the schedule. And they gave me the paperwork that this particular, like, any kind of, like, gasoline, if you want to drop off gasoline, you can only do it from Wednesday to, I think, Saturday or Sunday until 12:30 at one transfer station. And then on the other alternating week, you can do it at the other station at the same time. How stupid is that? So if you have gasoline, right? If you have gasoline, you cannot dispose of it for a week, nearly a week. If you just arrived, like, at the, you know, wrong time, unless you go to, like, a different station that could be on the opposite side of the city. And they don't have it on the website. The lady was extremely helpful at the station. You know, she's been extremely nice, and she explained me everything. I had so many stupid questions. Now I did indeed take a hit. I'm angry. Why couldn't the guy who works there over a call tell me that I can't dispose of this on this particular day and whatnot before I spent over an hour of my time driving there with a bunch of gasoline in my car, in, you know, properly stored, but you get the idea. That's why I'm upset. That's why I'm extremely upset, and that's why I'm not really in the editing mood. And yes, I edit my videos myself on the Jamesky channel. Sometimes I used to get help arranging subtitles. That's it. Why? I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm almost at the final boss. I just realized. I took 2 hits. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna do no hit run, but maybe I could do no hit boss run. I wanna have 2 black holes. So I don't know if I can do it. This is such a weird video. But hey, maybe you learned something new. Maybe you learned that LA is trash. Yes, I don't know. Maybe you learned that LA is garbage. Or maybe I'm gonna learn something new from, you know, people in the chat. Because I know there's a lot of people from Vegas who actually watch me and, you know, have helped me with a lot of stuff just in the past. You know, for advices where to go to do stuff. I've been living here for many years. I feel myself very familiar with everything. But, you know, you learn something every day. Only ignorant person will, you know, think that they are, you know, they know everything, okay? You always learn something new. And I love learning new stuff just in general. It just, it's my nature. I love learning. I don't know why. I just love learning. Anyways, final boss time. Let's go. There's, like, one move that I don't know how to dodge without using a black hole. The one with, like, you know, goes from left and right. Like the projectiles. You will see what I mean. Okay, this one is very easy. It took me a moment to realize that it actually doesn't hit you if you stay in the center. But it is one of the scariest attacks. You kind of, like, you know, see when you fight this boss for the first, second, or third time. It makes you feel like you have to use the black hole, but it's a trap. Okay, it's a 3-stage boss, so I just beat the first stage. The first stage is probably the easiest. I think the second and third are way more difficult. Also, I was gonna say, I mean, obviously the game has a bit of spoilers. I'm not gonna show any like story stuff because the game has, you know, a very unusual story. Let's put it this way. I guess the only spoiler is just what the bosses are. I suppose. Because I'm not. There's nothing really like, you know, showcasing the actual story, because the way you experience the story is a bit different from what you're seeing right now. I don't know how else to put it. Buy this game. There's Steam summer sale. Probably. I think there's still summer sale. It's July, so it's summer, so there should be sale. Buy this game. Play this game. If you don't like it, refund it. But, you know, if you're not good at, like, you know, bullet hell, Vampire Survivors games, you get better. Trust me. It's one of those games. It's like, you know, you don't feel any progress, but little by little, you do get better. You do get better. I can speedrun Enter the Gungeon without taking a single hit. I'm probably real rusty. I haven't done it in a while, but like I could do that. When I just started playing Enter the Gungeon, when I played it for the first time, dude, I don't think I could, you know, get to the end of the game until I had like 10 hours in the game. And it's not, you know, the poor game design. You know, it's like, it's not one of those, oh yeah, you need to play the game for 10 hours before it gets good. No, I was just, you know, not utilizing the game mechanics properly, was still learning patterns and you get the idea now, right? Yeah, I don't have to, like, you know, repeat myself. It took a while for me to get to the end of the game, not because of the game design, but because you just, you know, progressively get better. And so, similar with this thing, especially if you've never played games like this, you'll probably have a harder time, you know, starting out, but as you play, you do get much better. You know, just give it time, just give it patience. But hey, if it doesn't, you know, grab you in the first... I just heard a massive explode. That wasn't my guess, right? I just heard an explosion and my floor vibrated. I'm gonna be right back. So, that could have been the fattest firework to ever exist, like a Mr. Beast moment. The thing that confused me is the floor vibration, because I thought maybe like one of my gas canisters exploded. Because the thing is, when you're storing gas, and I'm storing it properly, I just want to make that clear. Whenever you store gasoline, you're supposed to make it vent, because otherwise the fumes, you know, accumulate, and one wrong move and it goes kablam. And by the way, this is the move I was talking about that I don't know how to dodge. Maybe there's a proper technique to do that, but I feel like I'm forced to use a bomb every single time. Anyways, I just beat the entire game, and I got to yell about, you know, LA and gas and other things, and I still don't have internet. I have no internet. How am I gonna upload this video? I just realized, how am I going to upload? What? I don't remember this. This is new. I beat this game so many times. Is this like a new update? Did I do something wrong? Okay. Okay, I think now we're gonna experience... Okay, here's the memory stuff. Oh no, here's the story. I'm gonna really zoom in so you do not see absolutely anything. I have no idea how am I gonna upload this video with no internet. I don't even know why I don't have internet. I'll look into it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you hate LA.